Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that sacrifice can be done either in the mode of goodness or in the mode of passion or in the mode of ignorance. So it is recommended that sacrifice be done in the mode of goodness. But Bhagavad Gita also describes what kind of sacrificial performance is regarded as sacrifice performed in the mode of ignorance. So the 13th verse of the 17th chapter, Vidhihinam asrishtanam mantrahinam adakshinam Shraddha virahitam yajnam tamasam parichakshate. Here, 5 characteristics are given of a sacrifice which is done in the mode of ignorance, tamasa sacrifice, tamasa yajna. Sacrifice performed in defiance of scriptural injunctions, going against scriptural injunctions, how to perform a sacrifice. Somebody just does some sacrifice according to their own concoction or without exactly following the scriptural directions. A sacrifice in which no spiritual food is distributed, asrishtanam. So this is of relevance to us. In every sacrifice, there has to be an offering in the sacrifice to the Supreme Lord. Because sacrifices are meant for pleasing the Supreme Lord. So the remnants of such food offerings in the sacrifice has to be distributed. So if there is no spiritual food which is distributed, then such a sacrifice, it becomes tamasic yajna. It becomes a sacrifice performed in the mode of ignorance. There is a very nice instance of prasadam, which was received by a devotee. That devotee was not able to share that prasadam with other devotees. And that led to a very interesting consequence. Let us hear that story. So Narada Muni, the great devotee, saint, he once went to Vaikuntha. Narada Muni is free to travel everywhere. The spiritual world, the material world, and he is a space traveler. He has got that siddhi, that perfection, that he can go to any place. Let us say he is in Bangalore and he wants to go to Badrikashram in the Himalayas. He just has to decide, let me go to Badrikashram, and then next moment he is there in Badrikashram. That's the way Narada Muni travels. So that is one of the yogic siddhis. A pure devotee has all the yogic siddhis without any separate endeavor for acquiring the siddhis. a pure devotee has all the siddhis. So Narada Muni, he travels in that way, and he can even go to the spiritual world. So once he went to Vaikuntha and he served Lakshmi Devi, Mother Lakshmi, very, very attentively, very nicely. So Lakshmi Devi was very pleased, and she told Narad Muni, "You can ask for any benediction that you want from me." Obviously, she was expecting that he will ask for something. So Narad Muni replied, "My dear mother, you must promise me that you will give me whatever I ask." Then Lakshmi Devi said, gladly she would fulfill his desire. He can ask whatever he wants. Then this great saint Narada, he revealed his heart. He said, "I want to taste the remnants of prasadam of Lord Narayana." Suddenly, Lakshmi Devi's mood changed. Her face became filled with worry. She told Narad Muni in reply, "Please ask me for anything else except Lord Narayana's prasadam. Anything else you ask me, I'll give you." A few days ago, Lord Narayana instructed me not to give remnants of whatever is eaten to anybody else. So I cannot disobey Narayana's order, my husband's order. So I cannot give you those remnants. So Narada was very, very, very disappointed to hear that. And he kept on insisting that, "You promised me. I asked you, will you fulfill my desire? You said yes, please ask. Now you're going back on your word. Please somehow get me just once. I want to taste it." So you are his dear wife. So you can definitely get me little prasadam. I'm not asking for much, little. I just want to taste it. I've heard a lot about it. So somehow or other, give me little. He insisted. So Lakshmi Devi began to think what to do now. So he told Narad Muni, "Wait, I will try what I can do." So the next day at noontime, Lakshmi Devi very carefully served Narayana his lunch. And then she performed her duties with so much attention and so much care. So, and Narayana noticed that, oh, something is different today. But when he looked at her face, she seemed to be very, very unhappy. So, certainly Narayana gently asked her, "What's the reason? Something is bothering you. You're serving me so nicely, but then you seem to be a little unhappy. What is the reason for your unhappiness?" So, taking shelter at his lotus feet, Lakshmi Devi explained her predicament. She said, "You see, Narada was serving me very nicely, so I told him, you can take some benediction. And then he asked me something which I cannot fulfill. What do I do?" So he said, "What is it that he asked you?" So she said, "He asked me for remnants of your prasada." So then Narayana began to comfort his wife. Then Lakshmi Devi began to cry. "What do I do now? You have told me, you instructed me not to give this to anybody. And now he is asking me for little prasada." So then Narayana comforted his wife. "Only today, now, this meal, I will cancel this restriction. You may take my plate, and give little remnants to him. but you should deliver in such a way that I do not see. Only when I am not seeing, that time you should actually give him. Make sure I don't see. So then Lakshmi Devi became very, very happy. She followed his instruction very, very meticulously. She removed the plate of remnants. And when Narayana was not looking, she gave little Mahaprasadam to Narada. Narada was very, very happy. He honored that prasadam, he relished it, and after that, he became completely ecstatic. He began chanting the Lord's holy name and dancing in ecstasy. And as his ecstasy increased, he could not control himself. He started running all over the universe to all the planets like a madman. And everybody was thinking, what has happened to Narada? Of course, he is always ecstatic about chanting and dancing the Lord's holy name, glorifying the Lord. He's always in ecstasy. But this time he seemed to be too much excited about something. So when he reached Kailasa, he was going from one planet to another. When he reached Kailasa, the abode of Lord Shiva, Shiva was very surprised to see Narad Muni chanting and dancing in so much ecstasy. So it seemed like he was swimming in some ocean of ecstasy, ocean of joy. So Narad Muni, Shiva appeared before Narad Muni, and somehow Narada did not even notice Lord Shiva. So then Shiva stopped Narad Muni, held his hand, and said, I know you're always in ecstasy because you're always chanting the holy name of the Supreme Lord. But today's your condition is different. What has happened? Kindly explain to me what has happened. Can you tell me something? So then Narad Muni cooled down and explained everything. I got so much pleasure by honoring the Lord's prasadam that I can't stop chanting his name, I cannot stop dancing. And then Shiva, with folded hands, replied, Oh, you're so fortunate. You're the most fortunate person to have tasted that Mahaprasadam of Lord Narayana. Now, have you brought any prasadam for me, little prasadam? So Narad Muni felt very, very sad, sorry, that he ate whatever was there all by himself. He never even thought that I should share this with somebody else. So he put his head down and he folded his hands and begged forgiveness from Lord Shiva that I don't have any remnants. I'm really sorry. Then he suddenly saw, as he was folding his hands, he saw something is sticking to his finger, some little prasadam. So then he said, now you can taste little prasadam which is sticking, the prasadam is sticking to my finger. I'll put my finger in your mouth. So, Kanika Matra, it is said in Sanskrit. It is like a very, very small quantity, little quantity. Just for you. So Shiva was very, very happy. He said, okay, let me taste it. And he put his finger into Shiva's mouth, and that small, tiny bit of Mahaprasadam touched Shiva's tongue. Immediately he became ecstatic. The same effect which was there on Narad Muni of tasting that Mahaprasadam, same effect. Shiva also began to chant and dance. Now, Shiva's ecstasy also became intensified, and his dancing became so vigorous, he manifested his Tandava Nritya. This Tandava Nritya, Shiva performs only at the time of annihilation of the entire universe. So the whole universe began to shake and everyone became frightened. What has happened? It is not time for annihilation. Why is Shiva performing this Tandava Nritya? But nobody had the courage to go and stop Shiva. So they all went to Mother Parvati and told her, what has happened to Shiva? Why is he performing Tandava Nritya? So Mother Parvati also was concerned. She didn't know why he was performing Tandava Nritya. So she went to him, and then she saw he was in uncontrollable ecstasy. He was not angry, or he was not in any mood of destroying the universe. But then why was he dancing like that? So she fell at the feet of Lord Shiva and started praying to him to calm down. Then when he actually calmed down, then she asked him, what is the reason for you to dance in so much ecstasy? Can you share with me? Can you tell me what happened? Then Shiva explained how Narada Muni went to Vaikuntha, he served Lakshmi, and then he asked for some Mahaprasadam, and Lakshmi with great difficulty got little Mahaprasadam, and he ate that Mahaprasadam, and he was in ecstasy. When he came to Kailasa, so much ecstatic feeling, then Shiva understood the cause for Narada's ecstasy, and he asked Narada, can you share or can you give me little Mahaprasadam? And he didn't have any, but some little one small grain was sticking to his finger, and that he made me taste it. Just one small grain, little grain, he made me taste it. That itself was enough to make me ecstatic. So then Parvati became very, very unhappy. You never considered keeping something for me? You ate everything by yourself? So then Shiva tried to explain, you see, the quantity was so small, I managed to get very, very, very little. He said, doesn't matter, you could have given me little bit of that, very, very small bit, even I would have been satisfied with like little bit. So then Shiva said, what can I do now? I don't have any. Then she became very angry, and she became so angry that the fire of her anger started to burn the whole universe. See, these personalities are all operating at the universal level. Shiva, Brahma, and Vayu, and Durga. They are all operating at the universal level. They are all universal level controllers of different aspects of the creation, of this whole universal administration. So when she became angry, the whole universe began to heat up, and everyone was very much afflicted by that increasing heat. So all the demigods went to Brahma. Brahma rushed to Vaikuntha. He said, I don't know what can be done. I have no idea. And he rushed to Vaikuntha. Then Vishnu knew what was happening. Immediately on the back of Garuda, he reached Kailasa, and he actually, as soon as he went near Parvati, then immediately she came forward and offered her obeisances. And then, before she could even complain or anything, Lord Narayana or Vishnu, he told, I will give you as much prasadam, Mahaprasadam as you want. Please be pacified, give up your anger. So, Mother Parvati protested, I will not be satisfied if you give me alone some Mahaprasadam. No. I want Mahaprasadam for myself and all my children, all the living entities in the entire universe. I do not want to see my children suffer like I am suffering now due to being deprived of your Mahaprasadam. So arrange something that all living entities, including the lower creatures, the dogs, may also get some Mahaprasadam. So then Narayana was very, very pleased that he said, oh, you're so very magnanimous. You're thinking not only about yourself, but also all the other children of the creation, including the dogs. So then the Lord said, I will appear in Nilachala Dham as Jagannath, and my temple will be famous for distributing prasadam, my prasadam. So whoever takes my prasadam, there will be plenty of prasadam. Whoever takes this prasadam will be liberated, but after it is offered to me, immediately it will be offered to you first, the remnants of what I take. And then only after it has been offered to you, then that balance will be, remnants will be Maha Prasadam. That will be distributed to everyone without any discrimination. Your temple in Nilachala Dham will be just behind my own temple in the inner courtyard. Now Lord Shiva, he will not be inside this courtyard because he neglected to give you Mahaprasadam. His temple will be at a little distance. His temple will be outside the courtyard, at a little distance. So the Lord appeared in Jagannath Puri, in Puri, as Lord Jagannath. And Parvati Devi is there just behind Jagannath's temple is a temple of Parvati. Her name is Vimala Devi. Bimla Devi or Vimla Devi, same thing. So all of Jagannath's prasadam, as you might be aware, everything that is cooked is offered to Jagannath. Unlike other temples where a small portion of what is cooked is offered. Whereas in Jagannath Puri, all the food that is cooked, the entire quantity is offered to Jagannath. And after offering to Jagannath, the Mahaprasadam is first given to Bimla Devi or Mother Parvati. After that, it is distributed as Mahaprasadam to all the people. So in Puri, there is no distinction between caste or it's even fed to the animals and including the dogs. And the prasadam is considered to be always pure. It is never contaminated. Even if it falls on the floor, devotees don't consider the prasadam to be contaminated. So that is the glory of prasadam in Jagannath Puri. It is because of this particular pastime that the Lord has manifested as Jagannath, and he has made this arrangement. In fact, the Jagannath temple, the kitchen, has got about 732 different stoves. It's called chula. Chula means that arrangement where they use firewood to cook. So at a time, they can cook for 1 lakh people, 100,000 people. They can cook so much prasadam. Of course, they don't have so many people always. But on special occasions when they have very big number of people, they cook for everyone. And nobody is deprived of prasadam. And it is very interesting. The place where this prasadam is available is called Ananda Bazaar. That means that place is the place of bliss for everyone. Simply by taking a little prasadam, anybody can experience that transcendental bliss. It's so nice. The prasadam is so nice. And Jagannath Puri's another speciality is the varieties of different items that are offered to Jagannath. In an entire day, 56 different varieties are offered. Of course, the maximum number of varieties among these 56 are offered at noontime, lunchtime. And that is the biggest offering. But in any case, there are many different varieties of offerings, and everything tastes like nectar. And the cooking is also very special. The speciality of the cooking is that especially this lunch which is cooked, they actually stack up from big pot to small pots, one pot above the other. And then they put fire at the bottom, and they leave that kitchen. They put all the ingredients in the pot, stack up these pots, and then put fire at the bottom, and they leave the kitchen. Then it is said that Lakshmi Devi comes and personally cooks for Jagannath. Lakshmi Devi personally comes and cooks. And at the time of offering, the servants of Jagannath were supposed to shift that entire quantity, whatever is cooked in those fresh pots, everyday fresh pots it is cooked. So the whole thing is transferred. So they don't check whether it is cooked or not cooked. No, it is all perfectly cooked. And they simply transfer. So there is no systematic method of actually cooking where they will put the ingredients and stir it, or put it on the fire and remove it, or reduce the fire, cook it in low flame, nothing like that. It is just all the ingredients are put in the pots, and the pots are stacked up, and they put the fire below, some firewood they light up, and that's it, they leave the kitchen. So Lakshmi Devi every day cooks for Jagannath. So that is a special feature of cooking in Jagannath Puri. And it is also said that the prasadam, anybody takes little prasadam and is very much serious and desirous of going back to the spiritual world, going to the spiritual world, they are guaranteed to attain the Supreme Lord's abode if they simply are able to properly partake the remnants of this prasadam, food offered to Jagannath. So that is the speciality of this prasadam. And also Jagannath Puri, the worship also is very, very, very special. That the Lord's worship is done by his devotees, who actually, some of them are not from a Brahmana background, a Brahminical background. There is one group of people, they belong to a tribe called Shabara tribe. Shabara tribe, they are known to be pig rearers. They rear pigs for their livelihood. So such people, but even though somebody may be born in such a family, but if they are devotees of Lord Jagannath, then they are fully devoted to serving Lord Jagannath in spite of having taken birth in such a family. That's the special thing about devotees. As far as a devotee of the Supreme Lord is concerned, there is no question of checking in which kind of family he has taken birth. A devotee, regardless of the family he takes birth, if he is a devotee, that means he is devoted to serving the Supreme Lord out of devotion from within the heart, then such a devotee is not to be seen as belonging to a lower or higher caste. And it is for this reason that Jagannath has got his servants who are from different backgrounds or different types of families. And all of them in Jagannath Puri, actually, formerly the entire town or city was simply the servants of Jagannath. And everyone else who would visit the temple would be visitors from other places outside that Jagannath Puri town. But now there are, of course, so many other people also who reside in Jagannath Puri, who are residents now. But formerly only servants of Jagannath used to stay there. And everyone is engaged in some type of service. I remember when I first went in 1989, I inquired from one of the pujaris, how many pujaris are there? He said about 800 pujaris are there. And how many cooks are there? He said about 400 cooks are there. Then he said there are tailors, there are pot makers, there are people who transport grains, sacks and sacks of grains from the go down to the cooking place, and then there are people to transport the prasadam, there are people to sell prasadam. All are servants of Jagannath. So many devotees are serving Jagannath, and they have been doing since generations, several generations. Each of the families have got a specific service. And it so happens that if one of the members of the family who is doing a particular seva on a particular day, if he is not feeling well, then another member of the family will substitute for him without any difficulty. The seva of Lord Jagannath goes on uninterrupted. So that system is being followed since thousands and thousands of years. And even till this day, it goes on like that. And all of them are expert in their service. The cooks are expert in cooking. The pujaris are expert in doing the arati and the alankara, the dressing the deities and decorating and everything. The florists are expert in making beautiful garlands. And there is a whole garden of Jagannath where nice flowers are grown. There's an orchard where so many fruits are grown. So seasonal fruits are taken from there, ripened and nicely offered to Jagannath. And everything is complete in that place. So that is the manifestation of the Lord's own dham. It's called Nilachala Dham. So that is where the Lord is manifested to actually bless everyone, especially his darshan and his prasadam, Mahaprasadam, are supposed to be very, very spiritually potent. So that is the this is the pastime behind that Mahaprasad. So I'll take some questions. Can you please elaborate the confidential knowledge? Yes. Let us try to understand what is confidential. Confidential means something which is a secret, something which is not easily available or easily can be obtained. So the knowledge described in the Bhagavad Gita is called confidential, more confidential and most confidential. Guhya, Guhyatara, Guhyatama. 3 levels of confidential knowledge are there in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, confidential knowledge, the Guhya, is the knowledge of the spirit soul. That's the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita. In the 2nd chapter, Krishna says each one of the living beings is spirit soul, not the body. So this revelation by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, of course it is there in the Vedas also, but Vedas, to search out this particular understanding is very, very difficult, because to search the Vedas, it's so vast. There are hundreds and thousands and lakhs and crores of different descriptions of different aspects of this material world and spiritual world, the Supreme Lord. So in that, it's like a dense forest. It's like trying to search for a needle in a haystack, if you understand what that expression means. So it is very difficult to search out the Vedic literature and understand this very, very basic, fundamental understanding of spiritual knowledge. Is each one of us, we are spirit soul. So that is called confidential knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita. Then there is more confidential knowledge, where Krishna explains after the 2nd chapter, beginning with the 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th chapters. He explains that actually the spirit soul, individual living being, is individual, and the Supreme Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, He is also the Supreme Spirit. He is one, we are many, and we have a relationship with Him. We have a connection with Him. To establish that, or to re-establish, is always existing, but we have somehow forgotten Supreme Lord. Our connection also we have forgotten. So to re-establish that forgotten relationship or lost connection is called yoga. So the Supreme Lord gives more confidential knowledge when He describes this yoga, the way to reconnect with the Supreme Lord. Each one of us, we have to reconnect with the Supreme Lord. So that's called yoga. And that is the more confidential knowledge in the Bhagavad Gita. Then the most confidential knowledge concerns this method of connecting through yoga, through pure devotional service. 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita especially. Of course, devotional service is described from chapters 7 to 12. Middle 6 chapters of the Gita describe devotional service. But particularly 9th chapter describes pure devotional service. Therefore, it is also called the most confidential knowledge. Knowledge about pure devotional service, the way to link up with the Supreme Lord through pure devotional service. It's most effective, it's most potent, and it is very, very very easy also. It's not difficult to actually practice this pure devotional service. Next question. It was mentioned that whoever takes Jagannath Prasad will be liberated. Does this mean all those who take will get a chance to practice bhakti and get liberation? Actually, the chance to practice bhakti is always there for every human being. It is not dependent on some taking prasadam or going to some temple or nothing like that. But anybody practices bhakti, definitely they can get liberation. But when it is said, whoever takes this prasadam of Lord Jagannath will get liberation, it means that if they are very eager to get liberation, unless we are eager and unless we want, we exclusively want, not just want, we exclusively want to attain the abode of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Until that, we cannot actually go there. Because this materialistic way of life, material existence, material desires, material attachments, material relationships, and this material body, everything is opposed to our spiritual position. It's opposed to spiritual and material don't go together. They don't mix with each other. They're totally opposite. So, if we want spiritual life, if we want spiritual existence, if we want spiritual abode, then we have to detach ourselves from everything material. We have to give up this whole material business. Then only it is possible. And the most effective way to give up this material existence, to become detached from material existence, is to practice Bhakti Yoga. Next question. What is the recommended foodstuff to offer to the Lord early in the morning, like 5 a.m.? Actually, for those who are practicing at home, temple we have a definite schedule, and temple the schedule is such that right from the time the Lord is woken up in the morning, as early as 4 a.m. the Lord is offered what is called as Balya Bhog. And then like that there are 7 times the Lord is offered different. Before he retires at night, he goes to take rest. He is given milk, hot milk and some dry fruits like that. So anyway, temple is the highest standard. It is not expected that everybody at home will follow necessarily the temple standard, it's not expected. But you can offer at times convenient to you, like when it is time for you to take breakfast, before that you can offer to the Lord the breakfast item. When it's time for your lunch, you can prepare lunch item and offer to the Lord and then partake the remnants, like that. That is the way generally householders do such offering. But even if you want to offer at 5 a.m., you can. Milk, rice and sugar, is it all right? Yes, it's okay. It is all right. You can offer early morning such items. It's convenient, like milk and sugar. Even rice, if you can prepare and offer, it's okay. No problem. The next question. Prasadam is very potent. How do we realize the potency of prasadam and accept with proper consciousness? Yes, prasadam, for accepting prasadam in the right consciousness, one has to say the prayer. There is a prayer given by one of our acharyas, Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmane Vaishnave Swalpa Punyavatam Raja. If you visit our website, there you will find this prayer. So you should recite the prayer and actually meditate on the meaning of this prayer. And in that way, one has to respectfully, properly partake the prasadam. Then the potency of prasadam can very nicely be realized. So the right attitude accompanied by other practices of bhakti. In addition to partaking prasadam, one has to also worship the Lord and hear about the Lord's glories from the Bhagavad Gita, from the Bhagavatam, etc. So by that we'll be able to have the right attitude and have the right consciousness for partaking the prasadam. I'll stop here. Thank you very much.